Delighted to say we're joined on the line by Nuneaton Town boss Liam Daish. Good evening, Liam.
Good evening.
So, how would you describe the current situation at Nuneaton, and is there still a genuine belief that survival can happen?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the current situation is obviously difficult, and it's been difficult since I've been here for a number of reasons. But you know, I'm well into it. I'm well equipped to work in situations like this because I've done it before. And you know, there's a challenge on. I'm not writing anything off. Obviously, it's you know, it's not. You can't ignore the fact where we are and the you know, 8 points adrift. But I think there's a lot of clubs that are in the same position, and you know, I think it'll go very close this year.
And what are your intentions for next year? Where do you see your future and the club's future?
Well, the club's future will be you know, the club's future is going to be determined obviously with league-wise of where we are, if we can manage to stay up or we go down. But whatever happens, I think the club needs to change. You know, we need to build a platform. We have to get an infrastructure in place, whether it's in this league or in the Conference North, give us something to build on. At the moment, you know, coming to a club where, you know, it probably is lacking a bit of infrastructure and stability and platform to build on. So whatever happens, we have to get something in place. And you know, the league we're in is very, very tough for a club like Nuneaton and its resources. And you know, it's you know, we're part-time. The league doesn't lie in a way that I think if you look at the sides around the bottom, you know, budget, infrastructure, resources, that's probably a league that represents them sort of things as well. So, you know, we've got to get something in place, whatever league we're in, and allow us to build as a club and build or put something in place that we can rely on, whatever league we're in.
And just 12 months ago, Nuneaton were in the top 5, and obviously now they're comfortably sat in the relegation zone. Who do you think should shoulder the responsibility for that change?
Listen, I'm not pushing. I know how difficult it is. You get when your teams, like whether it's Nuneaton or you build a side. You probably come on the back of you gaining momentum from a promotion campaign, and then you lose 2 or 3 players to bigger clubs for bigger wages. You know, you're not at a club that can probably secure players on long-term deals and things like that, and then players move on. And the hardest part of management really, and the most important thing, is the recruitment process. And you've got to be so spot on in your recruitment. And looking at it, I think you know, that's one thing that's probably was not looked into deep enough in the summer for whatever reasons. You know, recruitment is so important, and you know, especially now in this league where you're working to transfer windows. You know, you sign players, they're on contract. You can't really, you can't manoeuvre as such regarding getting players. So you have to work with them players and try and get more out of them, and work with someone else's players. To be fair, and that's been the case really. We've had a lot of, you know, if anything, I'm not making excuses, but if anything could have gone against us this year, it has done. I mean, I've only just got Andy Brown back, who was, you know, when I came into the job, you know, Andy Brown was the source of goals. There wasn't really much below that, and I get 15 minutes out of him, and he's injured, and I haven't seen him since. The same as Jack Dyer, who was, you know, a player in midfield that was going to get around the park, and I've not really seen him. And you know, there's not been, you know, it wasn't a case of look, come into a job and there's going to be extra funds for more players, and I had to work with him with what I got, you know, and and I'm not moaning about that. It was what it was, and it is what it is. So I'm fully aware of that. But you need a break. You need your better players being able to be fit at clubs like this. And, it's been a difficult time. But as I said earlier, right at the start, I've faced challenges like this before. I had many a year at Ebbsfleet where, teams were, everything would go against you. You're punching above your weight and you're trying to survive in the next league full-time league now, and it's hard. It's hard to really keep your head above water. But as I say, it's something that I've been before, and I'm well up for the challenge of it.
Hi Liam, it's Ben from Chester here.
Hiya.
I was talking about the recruitment of players there. I'm just wondering, what market are you going to be looking into in terms of strengthening for the second half of the season? Are you looking more towards the loan market from leagues above, or are you looking leagues below?
Well, the thing is, it's leagues below. To get players from the league below, you really need a good scouting network. So, that are out there watching players that are in first-team environments and performing well. Obviously, teams below, they know that the worth of their players, and they're not very keen to let them go. And if they are, you've got to pay fees, and usually they're on contract. So that's, I'm looking probably more for players, younger players that are looking to get their next part of their development from their parent clubs, i.e., the bigger clubs, and from under 21s and maybe a little bit older that need first team experience and want to turn up and want to get as much out as Nuneaton as what Nuneaton wants to get out of the players. So they really want to use Nuneaton as something that they can get in a first team environment in a decent league and get something on their CVs, which is first team football.
And looking to the rest of the season now, do you think that it is a realistic possibility that you can get a couple of loan players in that could possibly help to spark a revival?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at all the time, and we started bringing in a few loans, and Christian Dibble came in from Barnsley. I've brought in Gus Mafuta from Bristol, and possibly there might be a couple more by tomorrow. But it's getting the right players. Some of the lads that you bring in, although they played in under 21 development leagues, well, to be fair, Conference Premier football is not under 21 development league football. It's proper football. It's cut and thrust. It's physical, and you've got to make sure that the players you do bring in physically can handle the rigours of it and are up for it. So, it's not a case of just bringing in players because they're from a better, or not from a better, maybe from a club higher in the pyramid. That doesn't necessarily guarantee that they're going to be able to play at this level. Conference Premier is a tough old league, and it's a good grounding for players, but they've got to be able to handle it. And that's you're looking for players that can not only are young but can handle the rigours and what is entailed in this league.
And you speak of how tough the conference is. In recent years, some part-time teams have managed top-half finishes. And last season, Halifax were part-time and managed a playoff finish. Do you think anytime soon we could see a part-time team gain promotion? No. I'll tell you what happens, right? You get teams that will play. They will do well. They'll come into this league on the back of promotion, and they'll survive and do well on the back of a promotion. But the longevity of it won't last. It won't go on. Sooner or later, that club needs to evolve itself off the field. It needs to try and turn it into full time. It needs to up its game. It needs to, because if you stand still as a part-time club, it will catch you up. And you will have a good season. You will maybe finish second half, but before long, you need to, push the club on, because